Hi, this is Rick Harsh, and this is a booktube that's been requested by one of you who wanted to see the books that are in my to be read category that are behind all these Corona Samizdat books. There are also stacks of books. Come on over here, camera. Now, these have mostly been read. And the only one I think that is in the to be read is Ricky Ducornay's The Fountains of Neptune. And behind that is another stack that's similar. So favorite books that happen to make it here. Now, this is going to be a little tricky to get back here. I don't even know what's here. All right. Okay, can you get a shot here? I've read this many times, The Mediterranean by Braudel. I haven't finished Mulligan's Stew, which is a shameful thing. Raja Rao, The Chess Master and His Moves, is an extraordinary book, and I've gotten this far, a couple hundred pages maybe. Galiano, I've read this book. I've read this book, Dasgupta, The World of the Indian Ocean Merchant. And this one I read enough of, and then I got the full version. There was an unfull version, a less than full version. These are all our books, although there's the original Orbo and the Godhead. Minuet for Guitar. I've read this twice. The best Slovene novel that I know of, Vitomil Zupan. Dalkey had it for a while. I think nobody's got it now. You can see notes from the year 2001 in there. A real naturalism which digs a deeper trench into war and life, something. I always want to read short stories that I haven't read. This is Sadat Hasan Manto of maybe Gujarat in India. I'm not sure if it's Gujarat or not. Now we have to do the difficult work of digging behind the next stacks. Okay, these are all our books. Now, this stretch, what we've got here is one of the best books that I've stopped. I reached page 200, I think, 206. This is The Combinations by Louis Armand, an Australian who's living in the Czech Republic. This book is fantastic, and I went through the first 200 pages and got derailed by external shit. Now we got B.S. Johnson's Trawl. I always want to read B.S. Johnson, and this is one of those books that I started and got thrown out of very quickly. World Light by Haldor Laxness. The problem with this one was that I was trying to read it while I was reading other books, and I realized that this will go much better if I just sit and read it. So that's on the definite to be read. Here's Tito and His Comrades by a historian I've worked with a little bit named Jože Pirjevec. And I've read it several times up to certain places. Once I read the whole thing and then realized I need to read it again. This is an odd book that someday I may win. Or may win? Did I say win? No, that I may read. I don't know much about it, but it's next to an interesting one. This guy's an Arkansas writer, and someone who never got his due was introduced to me by Trenton Lee Stewart, an Arkansas writer, and he gave it to me, and I kind of just never gave it the time it needed, and then I saw it in My Back Pages by Stephen Moore. I saw that he wrote about Donald Harrington, so that went back in there. Okay, now, Porteous. John Cowper Powys, always been one of my favorites. Kind of the madman of elation. He's often elated. Porteous is his Welsh novel, and a fellow whose name on a website, not a website, some sort of fucking, one of those social media sites, went by Porteous, and there was a group read of Porteous, and I fell out of it at page 256 or 7, and not that I didn't like it. Powys is a genius, but I've got other things to do, other things that I have to read. Larva, A Midsummer Night's Babble. This will require another attempt. Again, I never started this book without other things going on, and so I was never able to really get anywhere in it. Now, we're moving further. Let's see, let's put Hassan Manto here, and these are our books, so we'll just leave them here and move more of our books. There's some money here too. Can you show the money, camera? Hey, camera. Okay, pens, show the pens. Okay, all right, and now I gotta move some books and the hat. Okay, the hat's gone. Okay, we'll order this up later. That was an early potential Skulls of Istria attempt. If we could use, I think this was Otto Dix, not George Gross, but they're often the same. Now, here we have The Last Mughal by William Dalrymple. I'm done with my Indian history investigations. I've had several periods of them. But I'd like to read more about, this is called The Bomb in Bengal, and it's from the late 19th, early 20th century, that period. And this is Amartya Sen's The Argumentative Indians, a collection of essays. And he's always very stimulating. This should be by my bed. In fact, there it goes. Soft landing. William Dalrymple again. Got a lot of good information out here. If you're going to read a British guy about India, he's the only one I know of right now that I would trust. Against the Day. There are things about this book that go against the grain of what I love in literature, and that are very close. They kind of, his interests and mine skim and keep going off each other, but they never, they rarely cross over. Although Gravity's Rainbow did absorb me. So I would like to finish Against the Day someday, especially because Noah Clemens tells me I gotta read the sex stuff in the end, or towards the end. Well, Noah, I trust you, because you're a man's man and you're bald. This is Parallel Stories by Peter Naras, Hungarian writer. A short book. It's just over 1,000 pages, 1,100 and some. And it's been very interesting. I last left off on page 82 and found it very compelling. And I've read a couple of people I trust on it. And so I will read it. This one was a big disappointment to me because the prose did nothing for me. Miljenko Jergovic, his book Kin, from Archipelago Books. It's a nice feeling, nice looking paperback. Is that a square camera?
Yeah.
Yeah? You think it's a square?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's nothing like a square. Here's one very particular book that you don't have, but I do. This is A Science Not for the Earth. Poems and Letters of Yevgeny Baratinsky. And I've read a couple of ones in here that I was told to read, and they're very interesting. And it's another big, beautiful paperback. It was given to me as a gift by a local professor. And so I will, probably that'll be next to my bed when I'm back in one of those stages of putting lots of things next to my bed. Now, I'm not going to clean up everything here. I'm going to straighten it up a little bit so that we can get to the next row. Okay, here we have Night by Vedrana Rudan. Another one that I started and got thrown out of, but I was really enjoying it, so I think I'm going to really like this. Such Sweet Thunder. This is one of those things where the rare sensitivity that I exhibit comes in. Vincent Carter was the only black man in Bern, Switzerland in the late 50s, I believe it was. And he wrote the Bern book. And I found out about it. And I visited his ex-lover when I was in Bern. And I arranged for my publisher at the time, which was Steerforth Press, I arranged for them to meet with her about his work. I thought the Bern book should be republished. And that was Lieselata Haas. Yeah, nice lady. And so I brought them together. And Herbert Lotman, how did he get involved? I don't remember Herbert. He wrote the great biography of Camus, but I'm not sure why this, but he says, okay, Dear Vincent, I wish that you had lived to see this book published. The book is Such Sweet Thunder. It's about childhood in Kansas City. And he says, after your death, I lost contact with your Bern family. The only palpable souvenir I had was the Bern book, which contained the preface in which I described the still unpublished manuscript that was to become Such Sweet Thunder. Nearly 30 years went by after that preface was published before a perceptive publisher, Chip Fleischer of Steerforth Press, came upon a copy of the Bern book. No, Rick Harsch did. And when I read that, I just thought, what is wrong with these fucking people? And asked for my help in finding the lost manuscript. And then he goes on from there. But I was really shocked that Chip Fleischer, who's a very nice man, allowed that to be uncorrected. Because it wasn't Chip, it was me. Also up here, I have Paul Auster's New York Trilogy, which I've never finished. The Best of Contemporary Mexican Fiction, another book to read in and out of. Adam Buenos Aires. I've read that, so I don't know why it's here. I've read these two. Oh, I know why it's here. The reason these two are here and that one's here is because they're great books. Well, no, these are great books. This was disappointing. But these, the Coover books, his first and last, are fantastic. Genoa and the Genoese. I read a lot of maritime history, and I found this in a box I was giving away, and I thought, nah, maybe I won't give it away. So I'm keeping it. Mad Toy, early Roberto Arlt, his only book before his masterpiece. Past Caring, a Juan Carlos Onetti book. All of his books are worth reading. And now, this is going to be hard. Okay, here we have books that I just didn't want to throw away. A history book, A New History of the World, The Silk Roads. Tariq Ali, there are 5. I only have 4. And I want to give them to someone. I don't want to throw them away or whatever. Tonio the Infallible was given to me recently by someone. The French Revolution. Fantastic writing, and I'm still only about halfway through, page 400. It's one of those books that you go deeply into it, and you slowly move forward. And one of my great favorite insults that I received was by a nice fella who didn't realize how he was insulting me. He had read the first 100 pages of The Manifold Destiny of Eddie Vegas, and he never asked for more, and he never bought the book, as far as I know. But after he read that, he was talking to me about this, and I told him I was reading it, and he said, "Oh, it'll be interesting to see how it affects your writing style." And I thought, what an insult. If I read a great book, it'll help my writing. Fuck off. Anyway, but I didn't tell him to fuck off. He didn't mean to do it. Here's the original 7 Mad Men, the hardcover that was put out in, I think, 1986. And here's America and the Cult of the Cactus Boots. So now we have to get to the last stretch. And these are all our books. So what do we have here? My copy of Billy Verite. Here you can see an author photo. That's in Grotto. That's Italy! Italy. You don't have to sneeze when you say it. There's some old Chandler Brassards. We had to turn the original into our paperback. Rodolfo Walsh, Operation Massacre, a masterpiece of nonfiction writing. Argentina. O.J. Vijayan, one of the best novelists ever to come out of India. Not well enough known outside of India. In India, I think he is. Here's some postcards from India. It's an elephant. I don't know what that is. That's a mandala. That's some Bollywood stuff. And spices and dyes. Okay, so these are not in the to be read. They've been read. Victory in Vietnam: The Official History of the People's Army of Vietnam. Good information in there, put out by the state though. Fernando del Paso, Polinoro of Mexico. I haven't read that yet, and I would like to. Pasolini's Requiem. I have finished this. Nice fat book, but these are books that are valuable to me. This one was, there it is. I've been looking for this. Nicanor Parra. I haven't read this yet. Anti-Poems, New and Selected. He was a fun guy and subversive in his fun way. So, I also, I like to read books that are very little known, but very important in their countries. This is a fat book on Europe that concentrates a lot on the eastern side of Europe. He's known for that. Norman Davies wrote History of Poland, 2 volumes that I've read. And Okay, this is a long story. This is a special copy of Moby Dick that was given to me as a gift, and it's my favorite U.S. novel. This is the pretty well-known Ligotti's Conspiracy Against the Human Race. This is one that Chris Villa, I think he arm wrestled me, and I lost and had to read this, but it's a very good book, 20 Days of Turin by Giorgio de Maria. Here are a couple of books that are very important to me. Seshu Foster's Atomic Aztecs, one of the great books of the 20th. Wait, what century are we in? Camera? 21st century. This is Indian Errant, stories by Nirmal Verma, translated by my friend Prasenjit Gupta, who has a really excellent introduction about translation. That much I've read. I haven't read many of the stories yet. I'm going to need a long period of convalescence in which to read all these things. I look forward to it. Okay, here we've got our books. My book, The Golden Cactus, White Mythology, terribly underread. Bercy, a couple of the Arlt books, and Far Tortuga, a great novel, and just as great as Miroslav Krleja. I've read these, though. So they're outside the scope of this discussion. There it is. Antonio Lobo Antunes' Fado Alexandrino. I've read that a few times. Tamil pulp fiction is interesting. The Savage Detectives, Roberto Bolaño. I've never been able to get very far in that. I find it inherently uninteresting, and I'm not sure why. Infinite Jest. I find that all too familiar. When I read that book, I never get very far. I never reach to page 100, and it's not anything wrong with the book. It's the culture. It dredges up in me feelings of over familiarity with a culture that I despise, and that's what keeps me from reading it. But I always keep it around so that one time I will read it. Thomas Powers is one of the people who published at what's the name of that? Steerforth Press. Historian, wrote a great book on Heisenberg and the bomb. Now, when I was talking about writers from certain countries, all of you probably know about, where is that red one again? I think it's over here somewhere. World Light, Haldor Laxness. You all know Haldor Laxness. He's having a bit of a second go. But do any of you know Gottfried Keller? Green Henry. Now look at this big book with tiny letters. I read up to page 400, and then I think I had to go home again and put it with my baggage and never finished it. So I read more than half of it, and it was very interesting. I was enjoying it quite a bit. Chromos by Felipe Alfau. I stopped reading that because I read that he was a fascist and supported the Franco side in the war in Spain. But then I read that I've read a lot about and by Steve Moore, and so now I have to read it. Blood Never Dried, A People's History of the British Empire, good enough. Intelligence Wars, we just went over that. Here's one of those that you buy because of the cover, and you read because it's spectacular. If you want to know, this actually helped inform the Olaf Palme books, and Hans Jakob Christoffel von Grimmelshausen, The Adventures of Simplicius Simplicissimus. Just like Gustav Meyrink, these are books that everyone should read from the central of Europe. Fratricides by Nikos Kazantzakis. Wanted it for several years, got it 30 years ago, have not read it, about the Greek Civil War, and I don't know why I've never gotten to it, but I've never gotten to it, and I will get to it. And these are the books, some secret, some not, some I've been looking for a long time and just found, so I'm really happy that we've spent this time together. I'm going to put this up on YouTube now, and if you have any questions, ask the camera, because she has got it all. It's my daughter, Baidavi, on the camera. Baidavi, you want to give them a picture of your face, or no?
No.
No. No.
No.
She's got a very pretty face.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.